What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to another episode of the Realistic Rebuilds here on the channel as part of the 12 rebuilds of Christmas. And we are doing the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins were my first rebuild I ever did, the most popular rebuild I ever did, maybe the most popular Madden 17 rebuild on YouTube, and that was where we took Lamar Jackson, made a monster of a prospect, and took the Miami Dolphins to the Super Bowl. Oddly enough, there's rumors that the Miami Dolphins may be interested in drafting Lamar Jackson. Last year, we did a Cleveland Browns rebuild. We just so happened to have Kaiser go there. If Lamar Jackson declares this year and gets selected by the Miami Dolphins, I guess I am Nostradamus when it comes to football. But that is not the case here. At least I don't think I'm going to use Lamar Jackson. Who knows? But when I look at this roster, this might be like my favorite roster to rebuild if I had like salary cap turned off, or at least cap hits turned off. Because when I'm looking at the roster, Tannehill and Cutler, I don't want either one of those QBs. Neither of these QBs, neither three of these quarterbacks do I want. And look at all the money invested in. So I'm really hoping a lot of these guys come this upcoming offseason, I can get rid of, because I can completely rebuild this team and make them a contender. But there's a whole lot of dead cap here. The running back spot, very, very odd to see Kenyon Drake not higher than Damian Williams. Kenyon Drake looks like a legit starting running back, and I'm going to make him my starter because I think we can develop into something special. And how Kenyon Drake has looked in real life the last couple of weeks, dude looks like a stud. Dude looks like, you know, he could firmly take over for Jai, making so Miami doesn't have to invest a high draft pick for a replacement running back. Drake looks like a serviceable starter for sure. Look at the wide receiver spot. This is the best part of this team without a doubt, is we have our three guys for the entirety of the rebuild, as long as we can keep them together. Jarvis Landry will probably get up to the low 90s. Kenny Stills will get in the high 80s. And Parker, I've seen him go into, I think 92 was the highest I've seen him. So these are our three wide receivers that are going to be, hopefully, staying on our team and being our focal point on the offense. At the tight end spot, look, another expensive guy I would just dump. Julius Thomas, no thanks, don't need him. This Derby guy's not terrible, 25.79 overall. But again, you probably want to look to bring in a tight end at some point. Offensive line, we have our left tackle here in Laremy Tunsil, one of the best offensive linemen I've ever seen in college football. He does develop decently well, so he will be a piece that we want to hold on to. As far as that is concerned, I mean, we have Pouncey, my Florida Gator bias. But outside of that, we just have our tackles. I think Juan James and Laremy Tunsil are the two fixtures and staples on this offensive line. And tackles are usually like some of the hardest positions to draft. So that means we just have to work on the interior. We could probably hold on to Pouncey as long as we can, but the two guard spots need immediate upgrades. The defense is old. I mean, both these guys here are really, really old. We're going to hold on to Cam Wake. You know, Cam Wake is not his real name. I can't remember his first name. It's like Derwin or something like that, or Douglas. It's probably not even close to that. But Cam Wake's his middle name, or Cameron is his middle name. No, his name is something Cam Wake. No, Cam is his middle name. I learned that the other day on NFL. Good little tidbit there, Tony Romo. But yeah, we need to get younger here for sure. The right defensive end spot, we do have Charles Harris, who we will start right away and try to develop. I don't know what his dev trait is. He only has a normal dev trait, but he should be a serviceable starter for the remainder of this rebuild. And the D-tackle spot, I've always been a big fan of Dominican Sue, but in real life, I do think the Miami Dolphins need to cut ties with him, and I hope to God his cap hit next year, or like whatever this offseason isn't so big, because I probably will move on from him so we have more cap. $30 million is too much for a 30-year-old defensive tackle who doesn't particularly play well. But what looks good here is Davin Godchaux from LSU. He's 22. He's a 79 overall. Like, we have good youth here on the defensive line, especially when you look at long-term in the rebuild. Godchaux and Charles Harris should be starters long-term, which means, you know, anytime you have starters long-term in a rebuild, it's always a good thing, obviously. With the linebacking core, we got a bunch of oldies. I mean, maybe Raekwon McMillan can develop, which is what we're going to try to. But, you know, until then, I guess we'll see what we can do here with this. Hopefully Timmons, we can get rid of him because he's not worth a $5 million cap hit. Middle linebacker, ooh, okay. Need a linebacker. We have Kiko here. That's a massive cap hit. And Stefan, oh my. Like, who is giving out these contracts for Miami Dolphins? The worst contracts I've seen here, at least in Madden, in relation to a players overall. In the secondary, you know, we have some guys that might work out. Bobby McCain's 24. He's an 80. That's not too bad. Lippett here, 77, the former wide receiver. We have Xavier Howard, 75. Tankersley, 74. You know, I mean, I don't know necessarily if we can say that these guys can develop. I don't think anyone has like a quick dev trait that can help us out here. But it's not an immediate need. We have some youth that, you know, if we can get one or two big seasons from there, we're definitely right now going to try to save up and buy the DB XP package for sure to see if we can get a couple of these guys into the 80s. Looking at the secondary, I mean, serviceable here. TJ McDonald. Rashad Jones is an 86, but he's really, really good, so we'll hold on to him. And special teams, you got Cody Parkey, former Philadelphia Eagle Pro Bowl kicker. But I don't know, man, this is a roster that would be so juicy to rebuild if they didn't have all of these massive contracts hanging around. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in this offseason, some of these contracts become a little bit more manageable to cut and move on from. But there is plenty of plenty of things that we need to be able to rebuild here for the Miami Dolphins to be successful, and I believe we can. So without further ado, let's jump into the rebuild. Will I get Lamar Jackson? Will I not get Lamar Jackson? Alright, so looking at contract extensions, I mean, a couple of the expensive guys are going to be off the books. First and foremost, we need to bring back Jarvis Landry. Even though in real life it looks like Juice is going to be leaving Miami, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, so we'll be holding on to him. But Hayes, Misi, Jay Cutler in particular, those are 3 decently sized contracts that we'll be able to get off the books. Damian Williams is intriguing, but I feel like, you know, we're going to go with Kenyon Drake as our starter. And outside of that, I mean, there's just a bunch of serviceable guys. Maybe we'll bring back Cody Parkey just because Eagle bias. But really looking at this first wave of free agents, the only guy that makes sense for me to dish out the cash for is Jarvis Landry. At the end of season number 1, things were not good for the Miami Dolphins, as they finished with a 5-10-1 record, at least not last in the AFC East, which is a positive, I think. Looking at the quarterback play was not good. Ryan Tannehill, 3,800 yards, 23 TDs, 16 interceptions, and I do feel like with the wide receiver core that he has, that is very good, at least for a base starting wide receiver core. Those numbers are not acceptable. As far as running the ball, we got 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns from Kenyon Drake. That is, however, acceptable. Enough, I think he's now at 80 overall, which is good. We're trending in the right direction. Look at the wide receivers. Jarvis Landry had a monster season. We were able to re-sign him. 92 catches for 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. We had 706 from Julius Thomas, 503 from Kenny Stills, almost 603 from Devontae Parker, and 300 here from Kenyon Drake, so 1,300 yards for him. Looking at the defense, we got 138 tackles from Kiko Alonso, 133 from rookie Raekwon McMillan. On the sacks front, we get 10 from Cam Wake, 7 from Sue, 7 from Godchow. We got 2 picks, Lippett, and a couple ones there. We definitely need to make more plays in the secondary. We were able to buy the DB XP boost for Adam Gase, but, you know, it's going to take a while. Quickly look at the yearly awards. MVP went to Phillip Rivers on the Chargers. We obviously weren't going to have anyone here. AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Tom Brady. Very surprised to see no Miami Dolphins. Melvin Ingram got Defensive Player of the Year. We had no one. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Deshaun Watson. And we had no one. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Carl Lawson, but Raekwon McMillan was the runner-up. So hopefully, you know, maybe get a chance at a dev trade boost. Usually only given to the winners, but 75 overall right now. I assume once we spend that XP, it should go up a little bit. And Godchow here coming in at number 9. Respectable season for both of these young Miami Dolphins. But that being said, let's just get this first year out of the way, jump into the offseason. Hopefully, we can maybe make a couple roster moves to free up even more cap space so we can splurge in free agency. Taking a quick look here at available free agents. Not a whole lot there. Not trying to make an overly crazy period. Depth. But we will see if we can get Austin Seferian-Jenkins. He's 25. He's an 86 overall. It would give us flexibility to move on from Julius Thomas, which I think would free us up around $4 million of cap. So, like, this is all backloading for that big, usually year 3 free agency period, which is insane. There's a whole bunch of prospects there. So, you know, plus we go with youth. He's 5 years younger. He's more suited for this 5-year rebuild. So hopefully we can land him. There's no other teams bidding on him. And other than that, it's time to get to the draft. All right, so looking at the draft class. Whoa, use your horses. Really good draft class for us. We hit on the 3rd true value prospect here, an 81 overall defensive end with a quick dev trade, which we made Bradley Chubb, the defensive end from North Carolina State, regarded for the upcoming draft class as like a legitimate lock for a top 10 pick. And most often than not, you see him as a top 5 pick. So very glad to have him here. You know, it might not start right away because, you know, we got 36-year-old Cameron Wake still ahead of him, but we needed to plan for the future beyond Cameron Wake. That was going to be a hole, and this prospect was too good for us to pass up. In the 2nd round, we get a 79 normal dev linebacker. You know, again, we kind of might need to disperse Raekwon McMillan because he was a runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's like a high 70s as well. But now, you know, just getting depth at the linebacker spot was key for us. So Evans is going to find a role for sure. Whether he stays inside or outside is yet to be decided. In the 3rd 3rd round, we got a 78 overall running back with a normal depth trait, which we made Ranchod Penny from San Diego State. He is going to pair up very nicely with Kenyon Drake in our backfield. In the 4th round here, we just got 77 guard. We left his name as is, but he probably will start for us right away, JT Gray. But look at this. In the 6th round, we got a 76 superstar free safety, which I guess could be, you know, a little bit of a position we could look at upgrading, as we have TJ McDonald, who's, you know, he's peaked. He's like a high 70s. That's it. So we made him Shawn, the safety from Texas, who is definitely rising up a lot of people's draft boards after a stellar 2017 college football season. All in all, very, very solid draft class. Had a couple busts here and there. Didn't finish up the 7th round. So good. But the fact that we got debatably 4 to 5 starters in one draft is huge for this team. So let's jump into year number 2. All right, for the beginning of year number 2, I'm actually really liking how this team is shaping up. We have Tanner at QB. Again, you know, we probably will draft one or try to land a quarterback in free agency this year as soon as he can move on from his contract. But Kenyon Drake and Penny already look like a nice 1-2 backfield there. Wide receivers look solid. Jarvis Landry's a 91, but here's what we're going to do. I want Jarvis Landry straight up to just strictly to play in the slot. That's where he belongs, and he's going to be a beast. We got Austin Seferian-Jenkins here now at tight end, 86 overall. Offensive line is actually coming to shape. Tunsil's an 81. Gray, our 4th round draft pick, 77. Probably need to move on from Pouncey after this year, but Asiata, who's a depth guy, is now up to a 79 overall, and Juan James is an 85. So the offensive line is pretty much built after year 1, which is, you know, that's best case scenario usually for a rebuild. Look at the defense real quick. We have Deshaun Elliott. We'll start at free safety. Our linebacking core is, you know, work in progress. Kiko, you know, I don't really have a whole lot of hope for him to develop. But Raekwon McMillan's up to a 79. Rashawn Evans, who was, I believe, a 78 or 79 middle linebacker, is actually an 81 outside linebacker. So that is a stud pickup for sure. Rashad Jones still holding on there, starting to regress a little bit. We definitely need to shore up the cornerback spot, but the defensive line is looking decent. We have Cam Wake here starting, which will kind of hurt the development of Chris Harris, but I assume Cam Wake will retire after this year, and we'll give Chris Harrison on a shout to start in year 3. D-tackle, we got Godshaw as a 78, Sue 85, Chubb will start as an 80. So I feel like when you look at this team, cornerback, defensive line, get younger at defensive line, there's not a whole lot of holes outside that, and obviously grabbing a QB and a center. So 4 positions of need, and we're only, you know, year 1 in. So that is a great spot to be. So let's pop into number 2, see what happens. We'll stop at the midseason point to look at contract extensions and the such. If not, hopefully, maybe a postseason berth with this team. I don't know. All right, so here we are at the midseason point, off to a terrible start to the season. It's time to talk about contract extensions. We have Cam Wake here. How old is he going to play? He's 36. I think you might get 1 more year out of him, but the fact that we got 15, he could do worse. You know, he's from the CFL. I have a special spot in my heart for Cam Wake. I actually remember when he played in the CFL, but we have Charles Harris and we have Bradley Chubb. We have 2 young defensive ends, and we could better spend that money elsewhere, I think. So Juwan James, he comes back. Devontae Parker, Bobby McCain. Those are the big 3 that we're looking at extending right now. I mean, I'm not going to completely rule out Cam Wake just as far as mid-season extensions are concerned. We're gonna wait and see here. And at the end of year number 2, not surprising, another missed playoff opportunity as we finished 4-11-1, which probably wasn't so hot. 4-11. 27th, so we're going to have a top 5 pick, which is good. There's 2 quarterbacks that look really, really nice. But looking at the stats here in the last year, under Tannehill, we finished with 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 15 picks. Again, you know, for a quarterback that's getting paid like $20 million, not good enough. Especially when you have a 92 wide, even your wide receiver core is made up of a 92 wide receiver, 2 85s, and an 80, I think he's an 89 tight end. That's the numbers you put up. Not so hot. That man's not hot. We almost got 1,200 yards and 3 TDs from Drake and 11 touchdowns from Penny, so the 1-2 combination is working out fairly nice. As far as receiving is concerned, 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns for Jarvis Landry, who is quite phenomenal back-to-back seasons. 800 yards and 6 TDs from our free agency signing ASJ, so I will take that. Stills with 800 yards. We got 403 from Devontae Parker, which is a little disappointing. Kenyon Drake chipped in the receiving game with almost 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, we got 147 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 picks from Raekwon McMillan. 124 tackles from Kiko Alonso, 100 from Rashad Jones. We got 9.5 sacks from Davon Godcho. 6 20 tackles for loss. Jeez. 6 from Wake. We got 5 from Bradley Chubb as well as 13 tackles for loss. So a very good season there from our first round draft pick. And in the secondary, 3 picks from Bobby McCain, 2 for McMillan, 2 for Lippett, sorry. And yeah, again, need to get better in getting turnovers and generating turnovers in that secondary. Quickly look at the yearly awards. MVP went to Phillip Rivers. Not seeing what is with Jacoby Brissett always making the MVP list nowadays. Offensive player of the year went to Phillip Rivers. We're going to see no Miami Dolphins. Defensive player of the year went to Melvin Ingram. No Dolphins. Offensive rookie of the year. Hey, Rashad Penny coming in at number 4. And defensive rookie of the year, Bradley Chubb at 4. We got Deshaun Elliott at 6. Rashawn Evans at 8. So all 3 of our very talented rookies getting a little bit of accolade. But outside of that, another disappointing season. To the offseason we go. So looking at the free agents here, definitely a better market than I would have expected. We put a bid here in on Danielle Hunter. We're just, a little too far out. Obviously, he would have to slide to the right side. But I feel like, in this type of rebuild, that means he would take over for our former first-round pick, Charles Harris. I don't really want to give up on Harris yet because he hasn't even had the opportunity to start. So I have gone in for Mr. Shaq Thompson, who would be our starting right outside linebacker, an instant upgrade over Kiko Alonso, as well as trying to go out and get Ronald Darby, 25 years old, would be instantly a starter here, the CB number 1, especially because we need to draft a corner because it doesn't look like Xavier Howard or Tony Lippett or Cordrea Tanker, so even Bobby McCain is going to develop anything special, and all of the corners in this upcoming draft class are terrible. So if we can get these 2 guys, that would be an excellent haul in free agency. Now it's time to pop into the draft. Yeah, that's a very nice pick we got here. Yeah. Alright, so here is our draft class. If you don't follow me on Twitter, new Twitter handle, it's at PapaXC4. I asked you guys what quarterback you want to see because really, man, it is tough in 2019. There is no, definitive franchise QB that you want to pick. Unless, Lamar Jackson or Sam Darnold return, it's kind of a logjam as to who is going to be, the clear-cut #1 quarterback. So I was either going to make it Will Grier or Deondre Francois, and you guys voted for Deondre Francois. I think Jacob Eason, Drew Lock, Jake Fromm, there's some other guys in there, Shea Patterson. But today we're going with Deondre Francois, 82 overall superstar dev trade. I do a lot of modification from the original draft prospect, but the overall stayed the same. And the best part when I usually go heavy into modifying prospects is you keep the awareness the same, because other than that, you can kind of balance the overall a little bit. It's not as overpowered. We got a 73 defensive end here in the 2nd round. Let's be honest. At that size, he is going to be a D tackle. So let's move him to such. You're going to be a run stopper. Thank you very much. And he goes up to a 78. There you go. Just like that. Ontarius Barnes. We might actually have to modify. Okay. After this little bit, I will modify him into a real prospect because a 78 is good enough to get said award. Then we got a 75 center here who we actually made Jake Hansen, a very talented center from Oregon, because he has that quick dev trait and probably will take over for Marquise Pouncey as our starting center. Then a 72, 74, 74, and then a 76 tackle here with 93 strength. He put up 41 on the bench press, so how could I not take up that opportunity in the 7th round? But yeah, the big tell from this draft is how well is Deondre Francois going to be. More so, how can he live up to the expectations that Lamar Jackson set in last year's Madden 17 rebuild? All right, here is our roster as we get ready for season number 3. Deondre Francois will be our starter at quarterback, moving on from Tannehill. In terms of development, I mean, not a whole lot has happened on the offensive side of the ball. We have a new starting center. Offensive line stays fairly consistent. Safarian Jenkins actually +3. He was an 86. Now he's up to an 89. I think, well, Juice at a 93 is really, really good. Having him start out in the slot position, he has been phenomenal throughout 2 years. This is going to be a massive help here to Deondre Francois. Looking at the defense, we got Darby now starting at corner. Elliott's up to an 82. We still have kind of a hole there for Kiko Alonso, the right outside linebacker spot. McMillan kind of stunted his growth. I thought after the year he had before, he'd be like 82, 81, 82, but he's only at an 80. Hopefully, we can get that up a little bit. Gotta have to look at maybe replacing Rashad Jones sooner or later. He has hit a wall big time, now at an 80 overall. Chubb's an 82. We have Sue here, 92, Gocho, Harris. And what I did was I made that D-tackle prospect. I made him Taven Bryan from Florida. Maybe my favorite draft prospect out of the Gators team this year. But just for argument's sake, we have him actually returning to school and coming out in the 2019 draft. But keep an eye out on Taven Bryan, man. This guy's an absolute stud. And he could be a guy that no one really knows about right now. If you're really following the draft, that could certainly spark up into the first, second round conversation. But, you know, he got to take a little bit of a seat now because we have Deondre Francois. It still costs way too much money to move on from him. And we got good production out of him last year. But let's see what Deondre Francois, with the offensive mastermind, Chip Kelly 2.0 in Adam Gase, what can he get out of Deondre Francois? Can he get more than the 22 to 25 touchdowns that Ryan Tannehill has been giving us with excellent wide receiver help? All right, free agency time, and you know it is what it is in terms of not a big flashy guys. Xavier Howard, Larry Tunsil, and Kenyon Drake are the three guys we're gonna try to extend. Kenyon Drake's not a must because we do have Rashad Penny, who's been very, very solid. But I like to keep that balance, that little 1-2 punch that we've had there. I've liked that. Tunsil is the biggest get that we have to have here, even though he's not growing as fast as I was like. He still could probably get up to 84, 85, somewhere in that range. That is good enough for the left tackle spot. So these are the three guys we're going to try to resign, and outside of that, we have a bunch of money, depending on, too, what we do with Ndamukong Suh in the offseason, to splurge on some big-time free agents. All right, so it's free agency time with $63 million in the bank, and the thing that's actually odd is Ndamukong Suh retired. He's not even here, because I was actually thinking about maybe re-signing him back on a smaller deal, but look at that. 99 overall Jalen Ramsey. We got Deion Jones, we got Miles Jack, and Ricky Seals-Jones' depth. So basically how this is going to work is I don't foresee us getting all of them. I went a little bit more on Miles Jack. If we somehow land all three of them, we might have to pull the Madden cheese and move Miles Jack to a safety spot. Maybe to take over for Rashad Jones, who is, kind of needing a replacement. But we have a big bid here on Jalen Ramsey. I think we'll be able to land him. 99 overall. So pretty much swapping Ndamukong Suh's contract with his. But I'd say if we can even get two of these three, we're going to be laughing. If we don't get any of them, I'm going to be crushed. Bro, oh, come on, man. Oh, we got Deion Jones, I guess, 89 linebacker. Come on, we offered so much more money than everyone else. Brutal, just brutal. No one likes Adam Gase. Everyone knows he's Chip Kelly 2.0. So we missed out on Jalen Ramsey in free agency, so that means we pretty much had to go with the top corner on our board with the 8th pick. And we got an 80 overall quick dev corner, which we made Trayvon Mullen, the corner from Clemson, real prospect, probably going to be a first-round pick next year or the actual 2020 draft, depending on when he wants to declare. So good to get a good prospect like that. Obviously he only has 2 years to develop, but hopefully, hopefully he can develop a nice one. Then we pretty much just went best player available to fill out some depth spots. We got a 76 center here with a quick dev trade as well. Couple botch picks trying to really find another good corner, seeing if I can find another 80 or something like that. We got a 74 punter. We needed a punter, all right? That's not bad, but, not the best of draft class, but we still got a good corner. So let's try to build upon this in Deondre Francois' second season. Let's get it. So here will be our roster entering our 4th season with the Miami Dolphins. Look at the offense. We got Francois to an 86, Drake and Penny 85 and 83 respectively. Wide receivers, Parker's actually developing a little bit up to an 87. Stills has not. Juice, 95 slot. He's been absolutely incredible. Our offensive line, looking good. As he is up to an 85. So there you go. Maybe a little low-key stud for you guys out there looking for some no-name guards for your franchise modes. Tunsil is struggling in terms of development. But everyone else, the offensive line, obviously everyone's a B. That is acceptable. On the defense side, because we didn't get Jalen Ramsey, we split that money on Su'a Cravens at the safety spot. We still have Rashad Jones as like the veteran leadership role, but he has regressed quite a bit. Elliott's up to an 83. We have Deion Jones moved to an outside linebacker. He's a 90 with Ray McMillan and Rashawn Evans. Defense, we had Trayvon Mullen, our first-round draft pick. We'll start at corner with Ronald Darby. Taven Bryan's a 79. Go show. Still young, still a lot to prove. So, this is a team that if we don't make the playoffs this year, it's not a forsaken that... we have to, lower expectations, if you will, of this team really developing into a Super Bowl team, because I still think this 4th-year development for a lot of these young guys could be good. I mean, most of these dudes, he'll get better. Everyone on this team, outside of maybe Darby and Jarvis Lane, literally outside of Darby and like Kenny Stills, I expect everyone on this team to grow a couple points during this season. So year 4 is not, you know, all or nothing, but it'll be nice to get a little bit of progression there. Maybe even get, you know, 8-9 wins, something like that. So let's see what is going to happen and start simming the season. So looking at contract time, we just have money to burn right now, so I'm going to resign all of our big-time guys. Pretty much, even Charles Harris, we'll bring him back. So, yeah, there you go. Easy free agency period. Talk about in-house signings. So at the end of year number 4, kind of not as expected, but I was prepared for it. We did not make the playoffs, but the team, they said everyone's looking a little bit better, and we still have to spend a little bit of XP, but 7-9, tied for second in the AFC East. Jets are doing some damn business there, 11-5. Looking at how we played, Francois, 3,800 yards, 34 touchdowns, 12 picks. You know, we were never going to get that kind of production if we decided to keep with Tannehill as our quarterback. So that you know, it's good. We're gonna definitely make the playoffs next year, I think. I think. As far as running the ball, we got 1,200 yards, 4 TDs from Drake, 7 touchdowns here from Penny. So the smash and dash, you know, not as featured as much. You know, it's kind of expected when your quarterback's throwing for as many yards and touchdowns as Francois has. We got 74. Safarian Jenkins leading the team, 74 catches, 800 yards, 7 TDs, 603 for Stills, 1,012 from Jarvis Landry. Landry's been an absolute phenom for us. Almost 806 from Devontae Parker as well. He's having a nice year. Probably one of his better years with us. On the defense side of the ball, 141 tackles from Raekwon McMillan, 121 from Deion Jones, our new free agent signing. 7.5 sacks from Tabor Bryan, 7 Charles Harris, 6 Bradley Chubb, 4 for Godchow. Yeah, not that great. Not where I want it to be. Trayvon Mullen, our first round draft pick, 3 picks. McCain, 3 picks. Darby, 2. Again, I'd say sacks and interceptions on the defense side of the ball are not quite matching the kind of production we're getting on offense. So hopefully something can happen going into next year, be it a draft or most likely a big time free agent. Then again, you know, we went in as much as I thought that would for sure get us that 99 Jalen Ramsey last free agency period. Of course, he didn't want to come because Adam Gase, I don't know, maybe he's an asshole. So MVP went to Russell Wilson. We had no one there. For AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Leonard Fournette. No one. Defensive Player of the Year went to C.J. Mosley. We had no one. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, no one. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Trayvon Mullen, runner-up with the number 2 spot. Still probably a decent chunk of XP to spend, but still 4 years in, no playoff experience whatsoever for my team. So year 5, Super Bowl or bust time. It's really to decide if this is going to be a failure or not. We need Deondre Francois to pull Lamar Jackson and just put this team on his back. Dope. So in the final free agency period, this is pretty much where you just throw money at the wall, spend what you got. You know, there's no point getting buried with your money. So we're going after Calais Campbell, 35 years old still, 7-point upgrade on Charles Harris. And then Des King, who is, you know, I always thought he was more of a safety type, but he is a, what is that, 4-point upgrade over Ronald Darby, tied with Mullen, who's an 86. He had 35,000 XP to spend, so it took him from, I think it was an 81 all the way up to 86. So 2 key additions to the defense that may help with sacks and interceptions. Those are the 2 things that I believe would be our #1 area that we want to improve upon. Landing both of these guys would be massive in improving that area. Let's just buy a little simmer right now. Give my live reaction. We've missed on every big free agent so far. Look, Des King told us to go frig ourselves. Thanks, bud. Are we still the leading bidders here for Calais Campbell? No, we're not. At least we have another opportunity. We're going to go all in. There you go. Here's so much money that you can't turn us down, right? There's 103 points. Please, Calais Campbell, come to our team. We need someone that can get 10 sacks. And he's rejected. Awesome. Adam Gase is confirmed. Chip Kelly 2.0. No one wants to play for him. That's embarrassing, man. Here's a quick look of our final draft class, just trying to fill in some spots. We got an 80 overall defensive end in the first round with a quick dev trait. Might actually see some time. Not really a scheme fit. I mean, he's much more of a 3-4 end. We just want best player available. So hopefully he actually can produce, unlike Charles Harris has, even though we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. 78 left guard here in the second round. 79 right tackle in the third round. And the rest of the draft was nothing to write home about. I'm ready to get in this year 5 Super Bowl or bust scenario. Let's do it. Super Bowl or bust time, year 5. Haven't made the playoffs once. Just living in the shadow of Lamar Jackson's Madden 17 Miami Dolphins rebuild. It's time to put up or shut up. Deondre Francois is a 90 overall. Outside of that, not a lot of progression from our offense. Offensive line is a couple points higher on each different spot there. You get the 90s. You get the double 90 between Landry and Safarian Jenkins. On the defense, I mean, Taven Bryan's now an 84. That's a big progression there. Mullen's an 86. That was our biggest improvement on any player from last year. Outside of that, man, this is a team that 100% should make the playoffs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So now it's now it's time to shut up. Put up or shut up. Come on, Francois. You're a 90. 90 QBs make the playoffs in this game with ease. Do the damn thing. What? How is it? Didn't make the playoffs? The 90 Q. What the hell? 6 and 10. This is a 6 and 10 roster. No one below. We got our outside of the fullback. No one below a B. No, not even a B minus. A B. A solid B grade. On defense, no one below a B. That doesn't count because it takes the second line back. It makes no sense. 6 and 10. We haven't got more than 7 wins with this team. Oh yeah. Might as well have a down year. Yeah, we only have 290 as your receivers. Run the ball. I mean, it's not that great. 1,208. Receiving. Jarvis Landry continues to be outstanding. K still sucks. K still hasn't done anything this whole rebuild. Devontae Parker has been underwhelming to say the least. Defensively, Raekwon McMillan had a bunch of tackles. We got, looks like, double digits. Look, 11 and 9. So we got better edge rush than we did any season really in this rebuild. We got, maybe slightly more interceptions. Trayvon Mullen with 4 than any rebuild. So as soon as Francois becomes a 90, that is when he decides to have his worst season. And I guess that's the way it is. Trying to live up to the expectations of last year's Lamar Jackson Miami Dolphin rebuild. We don't even make the playoffs once. Has this happened yet? Let me go up here. I actually have a Word document with every rebuild we've done. So the very first Jets rebuild, we didn't make the playoffs any time. So this is right on there. There's only been there's actually been a couple bad rebuilds, to be honest with you. But we've made the playoffs in every rebuild except one. And now we have to add this to the list. And I never thought that this would happen with this team. Maybe it's just when you do AFC East teams. Because the Jets was the team that we couldn't make the playoffs with before. And no matter what we did, a 90 QB with those kind of numbers, with a 95 receiver, an 88 receiver, and a 90 tight end. He only puts up 29 touchdowns with an offensive line that's all Bs. That's really frustrating. As you can tell from, I did the Calvin Johnson play rebuild. The 12 rebuilds of Christmas. I might not do it again next year. Well, let's be honest. Let's hope that Madden 19 is a really good game, because Madden 18, it is punishment. This is absolute punishment. So I hope you guys do enjoy this, because I'm playing Madden like 2-3 hours a day to get all these rebuilds out to you guys. But that does it for here today, guys. I guess this team isn't good enough to make the playoffs or even go 500 according to Madden. Thank you for watching, though. Thank you for watching another realistic rebuild here on the channel. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Leave a suggestion, maybe, of the next realistic rebuild you want to see for next Friday. That's not a part of the 12 rebuilds of Christmas. There's still a bunch of teams left. And that does it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.